It's like I'm stuck.
Like stuck in the upside down?
No. You know on a Viewmaster when it gets like...
Caught between two slides?
Yeah, like that. Like one side's our world and the other's slide is the upside down. And there was this noise coming from everywhere. And then I saw something.
The Demogorgon?
No. It was like this huge shadow in the sky. Only it was alive. And it was coming for me.
Is this all real? Or is it, like the doctors say, all in your head?
I don't know. Just please don't tell the others, okay? They won't understand.
11 would.
She would?
Yeah. She always did. Sometimes I feel like I still see her. Like she's still around, but she never is. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I'm going crazy.
Me too.
Hey, well, if we're both going crazy, then we'll go crazy together, right?
Yeah. Crazy together.
Oh my goodness. Is it Friday night already? Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another brand new episode of Stranger Danger. Episode 10 of Stranger Danger, covering episode 2 of Stranger Things 2, titled Trick or Treat, Freak. This is actually the first episode of Stranger Danger where I'm aware that someone from my office, someone from my work might be listening. If you're listening, what did you expect? And will that change the way I do the show? No, not at all. People I work with, they know what I am already, really. I have no expectations, and they have no expectations, I should say. Anyway, yeah, I told someone at work that I do a podcast, and I think they signed up. Now, if they started episode 1, there's a good chance they did not make it this far, which I'm fine. If it never comes up again at work, I'm absolutely fine. But if you made it this far, like, congratulations. And, yeah. I hope the Grand Canyon is exciting. Okay. Let's get right into the episode, huh? We actually pick up in a flashback. We're not in Stranger Danger 2, Stranger Things 2 yet. We're actually at the back end of Stranger Things 1. The episode picks up right at that moment where Eleven says goodbye to Mike and destroys the Demogorgon. You know, what we saw last year was Eleven kind of evaporating or disintegrating. But what happens is she just basically wakes up in the Upside Down. All she did was kind of transfer herself to the Upside Down when she destroyed the Demogorgon. So here I'm thinking, where's 11? How was she going to get back? How did she get back? How did she get into Hopper's house? What happened? Well, it turns out the night that she killed the Demogorgon, about 5 minutes later, she crawled out of the Upside Down. She wakes up in the Upside Down. She's in the school. She's walking through the hall. She's screaming for Mike. She finds this little window back out into the real world. Some police kind of shine a light through it, or somebody shines a light through it. She hides from them, waits for them to leave, then uses her powers and, widens the hole and just walks out of it. It's slimy, it's gross, but she walked right out of the school. I mean, at this point, Mike and his family could just be heading home. She walks right out of school like no big deal, cuts through the fields to get to Mike's house because she wants to get back to Mike, and sees all these cop cars, outside his house, and realizes, maybe it's not safe to get too close. Well, she still gets pretty close, actually, because there are feds all over the Wheeler house, and they're basically telling Mike's dad, you got to keep this under wraps. He's like, we're good patriots, we won't say a thing. And these people are interviewing Mike. They're talking to Mike, and they're basically telling her, everything this girl said to you is a lie. Do you know where she is? And he's like, I don't know where she is, and even if I knew where she was, I just wouldn't tell you. I would never betray her. I would never betray her. And she actually is right outside the window watching this, listening in on this. And he kind of sees her. He sees her or senses her or something, because the feds realize he's looking out the window. So they all run outside. At that point, she's already run off. She's off in the woods. They're chasing her. She's hiding in the woods. It really had that moment, reminded me of E.T. And that's when the episode music started. And speaking of E.T., more E.T., we're back in Hopper's cabin, and he turns around, getting ready for breakfast, turns around and sees 11 dressed up as a ghost.
Oh, Jesus.
Ghost.
Yeah, I see that.
Halloween.
Sure is. But right now it's breakfast, okay? Come on, let's eat.
They wouldn't see me.
Who wouldn't see you?
The bad men.
What are you talking about?
Trick or treat.
You want to go trick-or-treating? You know the rules.
Yes.
Yes, so you know the answer.
No, but I don't. They wouldn't
Hey,
see me.
I don't care.
But they
I
wouldn't see
don't
me.
care, all right? You go out there, ghost or not, it's a risk. We don't take risks, all right? They're stupid. And?
We're not stupid.
Exactly.
Just seeing 11 in that ghost, the sheet over her head again. Right out of E.T. They took E.T. out trick-or-treating with a sheet over his head as a ghost. I like that whole thing of, it just showed Hopper and 11 having a cool relationship, just a normal adult male child relationship that's not creepy or freaky. We actually talked about this in my office. It's cool to see that kind of relationship. And you're seeing the beginning of that, where they have a rapport. Is that it? And they also have a motto: "We're not stupid." And he's like, "Look, we can't go trick or treating. I'll bring candy home for you. It's a compromise." And 11's like, "Compromise?" And he's like, "Promise, C-O-M promise, a halfway happy," meaning you're not going to get what you want, but at least you can get something out of it. We cut over to the buyer's house, and Will is getting all dressed up for Halloween in his Ghostbusters costume. Joyce finds the mind flayer drawing, the drawing of the big kind of shadow monster. Nothing comes from that yet. I don't think, unless he says it's just a drawing. I don't know. I kind of forgot. I wrote this down yesterday, and I was very tired when I was watching half of the episode. I finished the episode today, so I'm more awake. But he's dressed up as a Ghostbuster, getting his picture taken. Actually, all the boys are getting their pictures taken. It was funny to see Lucas. His little sister was making fun of him, and Dustin loved getting his photo taken by his mom. And of course, the only one who didn't like getting his photo taken was emo Mike. You know, he's like, "Oh, come on, I don't want to get my picture taken." So he was, a little bratty. But we see the three of them riding their bikes to work, all singing Ghostbusters, and Will meets up with them. And it's funny that they're Egon, Ray, Peter Venkman, and another Peter Venkman. Lucas did not want to be, I don't know why I can't remember his name. Winston. I have it written down. I don't even need to remember it. Lucas did not want to be Winston because Winston is not a scientist. Winston was late. And Winston was not funny. So they had to be two Venkmans. And of course he's like, why, Mike, why can't you be Winston? Because you're not black. And that was funny. And I remember in the trailer, when they showed it on Super Bowl Sunday, they showed this trailer, the first trailer for season 2. And, it shows them all dressed in their Ghostbusters costume and Lucas looking off, in the distance. You're thinking there's some scary monster coming. But in reality, in this episode, we see that all he's seeing is a school bus filled with kids, none of which are wearing costumes. They're in the school looking around. Nobody's in costume but them. They're trying to figure out what happened. Last year, everybody wore costumes. Obviously, everyone's getting older and they're still wanting to be fun kids. And at that moment also, Dustin and Lucas, they see Max and they're kind of trying to talk themselves up into going to talk to her. I think it was to ask her trick-or-treating. And, they're gearing up, and she just walks away. That was pretty funny. Before they even had a chance, she was just gone. Cut over to the buyer's house, and Joyce is talking to Hopper, kind of nervous about the drawing, the Mind Flayer drawing that she saw. And I think Hopper's like, he still believes that these could be memories or post-traumatic stress. And he says a couple things that I found interesting. First of all, he says, you want to take him back to Chicago. Then Joyce says, well, there's that guy in Boston. So that just made me think, what's that about? What's this guy in Boston? Why was that reference dropped? It was never brought up again. And what's this thing you want to take him back to Chicago? What's that about? It was never, again, brought up again. So I'm thinking to myself, could these be things that we see in season 3? Something to do with someone in Boston, someone in Chicago. It just brought a level of a bit of a backstory that we don't know anything about. It was just a throwaway line really quick, but I wonder if it could mean something more in the future. He still thinks it's just the trauma and the flashbacks, but it was just a nice moment that Hopper and Joyce had. I think Joyce is just like, she just wants this to end. And I believe they shared one of Hopper's cigarettes again, which I guess is a little powerful because Joyce coughs every time she smokes one. So now we cut over to the lab, and there's a guy getting dressed up in a hazmat suit. I call him a tech. I don't know what else he could be. Just someone who works for the lab, going through the gate. And he's in the Upside Down, and he walks over to some sort of machine. Almost it had like satellites on it, maybe some kind of weather vane. And he sees this battery was fried, and he replaces it with another battery. Well, I wrote down Dr. Paul Reiser was watching on because I forget his name. And then Paul Reiser goes back and he's watching some of the Will meeting that he had with him. Will was talking about it being, frozen in fear, and he's squeezing the stress ball. And I wonder if this was kind of the first way of showing that he is nervous, but he also seems to care. He might not be so cold-blooded as Dr. Brenner was. cut over to the high school, and Nancy and Steve, they're doing homework, and Nancy gets up to sharpen a pencil, and she just sees the back of this girl's head. Red-headed girl. You realize I don't think she thinks she's seeing Barb. I feel like she just kind of for a moment has just like a flash of whoa, and the girl turns around. And obviously it's not Barb, but Nancy's really freaking out, and Steve noticed it. So they kind of step away for a minute to talk about it.
I can't keep doing this.
Doing what?
Pretending like everything's okay.
What are you talking about?
Barbara. It's like everyone forgot. It's like nobody cares. Except her parents, and now they're selling their house, and they're going to spend the rest of their lives looking for her.
I know.
It's destroying them.
No, I know. Okay, I get it, but listen, there's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah, we could tell them the truth.
Well, you know that we can't do that.
We don't have to tell them everything.
This isn't some game, Nance. If they found out that we told they could put us in jail, okay? Or worse, they could destroy our families. They can do anything they want. Okay, just think about what you're saying. Hey. 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 Hey, it's hard, but let's just go to Tina's stupid party. Wear our stupid costumes that we've been working on for a stupid amount of time. And just pretend like we're stupid teenagers, okay? Can we just do that just for a night?
Okay.
I don't know if it was intentional that earlier in the episode, Hopper said to 11, "We're not stupid." And just now, at this part of the episode, Steve said to Nancy that they just want to be stupid teenagers, go to a stupid party and dress in their stupid costumes. Just for, just for one night, can we have an enjoyable, basic, boring, regular evening? But the conversation between the two of them kind of sets off Nancy into her path for really the rest of the season, where she does not want to let Barb die in vain and does not want to let the people who she holds responsible, she doesn't want them to get away with it. And she does not want to rest on this. And she doesn't want Barb's parents to be running around like crazy, spending all their money for something that is never going to work out. Back over in the junior high, Lucas and Dustin do finally get to talk to Max and ask her to go trick-or-treating with them. It was kind of a fun conversation. I think she called him, I forget what the term was, persistent. I don't know, whatever it was funny. Just the two of them. You could see that they're both pretty much, I don't want to say love struck, but crush. The both of them, you could tell, have that nerdy crush. And I don't think they realize yet that, hey guys, there's two of you and there's only one of her. So if she does like one of you, it means she can't like both of you. You know what I mean? If one of you win her heart, the other one not going to be too happy about it. Back over in Hopper's cabin, 11 just kind of spends the day watching television. She's flipping through channels. She's a commercial for Terminator. It is 1984 after all. And then flips a channel to a soap opera. And, you'd think I would just say, oh, she's just watching some soap opera. But I saw it right away. I said, that's All My Children. That's Erica Kane. Yes, my mother watched All My Children all through my childhood. So I know exactly what that show was, exactly who that character was. And she could see she's kind of like mimicking the terminology. And I don't know if it was on purpose, but I've never seen Erica Kane with Susan Lucci's the actress with that short hair, kind of like how 11 has it. So I don't know if 11 saw herself in that character and kind of that character being in love and how she wants to be in love. Obviously thinking about Mike. She hears something outside. She puts the curtains up, sees a squirrel, and we get another flashback. You know, she, last time we saw her, she was hiding in the woods. She's basically living in the woods now. She's using her powers to telekinetically kill squirrels so that she may then cook them and eat them. On one such occasion, a hunter approached her, and you know, you think the worst when you see some creepy guy in the woods, like, "Hey, little girl, what are you doing out here?" Got his gun. He doesn't do anything to her. He's just kind of at the wrong place at the wrong time. She actually uses I think it was the burnt squirrel body, and whacks him right in the head. Or it was probably a piece of wood, now that I think about it. Whacks him in the head, knocks him out. She steals his jacket, steals his hat, and just runs off. So we're kind of getting little glimpses of what 11 went through to get from the school to Hopper's cabin. Speaking of Hopper, we're back at the police station, and Hopper, you know, pulls up, and there's a truck next to, right in front of the police station, and it's just filled with rotted pumpkins, just with flies and everything. And he goes inside, and this time it's Eugene. I believe it's Eugene. He's now accusing Merrill, the other farmer, of poisoning his pumpkins. But it turns out there's a bunch of farms, all with rotted, dead crops. So obviously that's something that Hopper, you know, finds interesting and wants to look more into. Back over at the school, we see Max getting picked up after school from Billy. You know, we don't, at this point, we still don't know who he is to her. We assume it's her brother. And I don't even know I'm not sure if they use the name Billy yet. She uses it in the car. He's a real prick. He hates Hawkins, you know. And he says to her, you know, "We're stuck here, and whose fault is that?" You know. And I'm watching that this time going, well, whose fault is it? Is there something behind that? Is he just blaming? Now, obviously, you've watched all the episodes, so if I go ahead and talk about things that haven't happened yet, it's fine. Obviously, he could be blaming the fact that Max's mother married his father, and they moved. But that doesn't make any sense because they're not from Hawkins, so why would they move to Hawkins? Why would it be her fault? He's obviously blaming her. She said him under her breath, and he got really pissed off, and he actually almost, you know, he slammed the gas on his car, turned up some Ted Nugent, and I believe it was Ted Nugent, and almost runs the kids over as they're riding their bikes home. But, you know, we know that it's his dad who's a super prick, abusive guy, and he's married to Max's mom. I just don't know. I'm trying to wonder if this whole, you know, we're stuck here and whose fault is that? Is that a line of just a angry teenager in a divorced household picking on his, you know, younger stepsister? Or does it mean something? I don't know. That's what this podcast is for, to pick on these little things and wonder, is there something more to it? Back on the pumpkin patch, and Hopper's checking out the rotted crops. I mean, there's slime on trees. It's disgusting.
Now, you trying to tell me with a straight face, Cole did this?
How far does it go?
Hey, Chief, you got... Hey, Chief.
How's it looking over there?
Like a giant pissed all over Jack's bean field.
Smells, too. You smell over there?
Yeah, a little bit.
God, smells like a nursing home, man.
Listen, I want you guys to track the rot, see how far it goes.
Just mark anything that's dead.
It's gonna take some time.
So take it.
And look, we don't know what causes. Could be poison, so don't touch anything without gloves. Copy that, Chief.
You got any marking flags?
I love Hopper. You know, he's already realizing that there's no way someone did this. It's definitely not the cold, but, you know, he doesn't believe that someone poisoned these crops as far as, you know, on purpose, as far as another farmer doing it to sabotage. I don't say sabotage, I say sabotage. 5 people will get that reference. You know, you could tell Hopper thinks something else is going on here, so that's why he starts marking, trying to get a pattern, trying to figure out what is this rot and why is it spreading in the farms of Hawkins. But hey, it's Halloween night, so we cut back over to the buyer's house, and we got Bob dressed like a vampire, real kind of a corny, nerdy costume. He's giving Jonathan tips on how to use his camcorders. Jonathan's taking Will out trick-or-treating. But while they're driving, Will and Jonathan, you know, Will's like, Jonathan's kind of wondering, you know, what does Mom see in Bob? And Will likes Bob to a point. He's like, you know, at least he doesn't treat me weird. I can't even go out trick-or-treating alone. But Jonathan, you know, when they pull up to see his friends, he's like, listen, I'll let you go on your own if you promise to be back at Mike's by 9 p.m. So he's letting Will, you know, live a little bit. He thinks his brother's earned it. And also, you can kind of tell that he wants to go to this party because he knows that Nancy Wheeler's going to be there. Speaking of said party, it's debauchery. You know, obviously Tina's family, whoever this Tina is, they're out of town. And Billy, of course, the jerk is there and he's doing a keg stand and they're like, Billy, Billy, Billy. And there's the new king, you know, the new keg king. Eat it, Harrington. And there's another guy there dressed up like the Cobra Kai from Karate Kid. And of course, he's not in the season that much, but that is Steve's friend, one of his jerk friends from the previous season. Now, of course, he's attached himself to Billy. It seems like this prick, he wants to just attach himself to the jerkiest guy at the school. Last year it was Steve. This year he sees Billy as the new kingfish, so he attaches himself to him. While these two guys are trying to, show up Steve, Nancy kind of walks off. You can obviously tell that things are still bugging her because she goes right up to this punch bowl and this big, like, burly, nerdy guy, he's like, it's pure fuel. And Nancy just, she's like, it's time to be a stupid teenager, digs right into the punch. We cut back over to the buyer's house. And it's just a nice moment with Bob and Joyce. In the party, they have, I think they have Motley Crue, Shout Out the Devil playing, juxtaposed with Bob playing Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton's Islands in the Stream, which I've been hearing a lot lately. He gets Joyce up to relax and dance in her house, which was just nice because it shows how much of a nice, good guy Bob is. And he actually says, have you ever thought of leaving Hawkins? We could leave Hawkins. There's Radio Shacks out where my parents live. They're selling their house in Maine. There's a lot of cool theories of this being tied into the Stephen King world and Bob growing up in Maine. That'll come up more in other episodes. I'll bring it up more in future episodes of Stranger Danger. I'll have some audio to go along with that. But one thing that was nice, it was really sweet. Joyce is like, this is not a normal family. And Bob just said, it could be. And it just, as the season goes on, as we know what's going to happen, heartbreaking. But at this moment, Bob's awesome. The boys are trick-or-treating. It was a fun little scene where the woman opens the door and thinks they're all exterminators. But we get a moment where they get Three Musketeers. All of them hate Three Musketeers except Dustin. He loves it. He loves the nougat. And that plays a little more in future episodes of this. I'm getting tired. But while they're walking along, Max jumps out of nowhere in a Michael Myers mask and a big knife. and the kids freak out. And I think it was Lucas who screamed like a 5-year-old girl. It was pretty funny. But she's like, "You coming along?" And Lucas and Dustin are all for it. And Will doesn't care. He's just, whatever. But Mike is really not into it. He doesn't like that she's in the group. He just kind of stands there and walks right, behind all of them slowly. Back over in the pumpkin patch over in Eugene's farm, Hopper's still laying down flags. I mean, this rot is spreading all over the place. And while he's out there, it's dark, it's gloomy. He hears that weird noise again. That noise he heard in the woods at the other farm. The same noise that Dustin heard the other night by his garbage. That noise is going to come up again. But he's kind of, he unclips his gun because he's kind of freaking out. But he realizes that there's just a kid with a cap gun who scares the hell out of him. Which, when he sees that kid and he realizes what time it is, he realizes he has left 11 way later than he said he would. He's like, oh, crap. He leaves. He runs off. But before he leaves, he comes back and tries to get that kid to give him some candy. Luckily, he offers him some money and to get some candy and bring it home. He radios into 11 and gives the Morse code of LATE that he's going to be late. And she again has another flashback. This time she stumbles upon that box in the woods that had the Eggos and some food. And I'm wondering, it seemed like she didn't know what this was, and this was the first time she saw it. So I wonder, is this the month after Christmas? It's been a month, and this is that food supply that Hopper left at the end of season 1. I don't know why Hopper thought, well, let's just leave it out here. Maybe she'll find it. Maybe she's in the woods. I don't know why he would think that. Unless somebody talked to him or he saw that the feds, were out looking for her in the woods. I mean, that's the only thing that makes sense to me. Cut back over to all the guys trick-or-treating, and they're in a neighborhood called Loch Nora. And if you watch the Beyond Stranger Things episode, that was a real neighborhood where the Duffers grew up, that had all the nice houses and gave away the full-size candy bars. So that was a little nod to that.
It was a graveyard smash.
Another full-size. Like, seriously, rich people are such suckers. Wait, you're not rich, right?
I love Old Cherry Road.
Oh.
No, that's fine. I mean, the street's good for skating.
Yeah, totally tubular. What, did I say that right? Or is it like tubular?
It's like
Totally tubular. Totally tubular.
What another way, dude.
Totally
Yeah, cool.
Stop, my ears are hurting.
Oh, yeah.
Did you agree to this?
What?
To her. Joining our party. It's just for Halloween. You should have checked with me.
Well, they were excited. I guess I thought you'd be okay with it.
She's ruining the best night of the year.
The coffin bangers were about to arrive with their local group, the Cryptic of Five.
Watch it, zombie boy.
Trick-or-treat freak.
Okay, so first of all, I love Totally Tubular, but man, Mike is just not into Max being part of this group. He's like, they should have consulted me. And Will, again, just doesn't care, but Mike's like, they're ruining the worst night of the year. And he just leaves Will, walks off without him, leaves Will alone, while 3 terrible bullies just say horrible things to Will, call him zombie boy and trick-or-treat freak. Boo. But man, that second kid had the best Jason Halloween mask I've ever seen. So we had Jason and Michael Myers in this episode. No Fred Krueger yet, though. No Fred Krueger. I believe it was a little too early for Freddy Krueger Halloween costumes. He was still very scary then, so they wouldn't be selling, I think, the burnt face mask and the gloves. They did definitely sell them later on in life because I had them. But let's not gloss over the fact that these guys freaked Will out. He fell down and snapped over into the upside down. He's in the upside down, and he hears again. There's that sound. He hears the same sound that Hopper heard in the forest or in the woods there in the farm. Heard the same sound that Dustin heard by his garbage. Whatever that is, it's all related. And this time he sees the giant. They don't call it the mind flayer yet, but sees the giant smoky ghost monster, and he just looks up at it and he runs through this yard, down this hill, and it's all the neighborhood, but it's the upside down. Runs away. The smoke thing starts following him, really around the corner. He closes his eyes, and boom, he wakes up, and Mike's there. He's like, "Will, are you okay? Will, are you okay?" And you could see Will is just in a panic. He's really scared. Dustin's like, "Oh shit." And he and Lucas and Max are just watching on as Mike's like, "I'm going to take him home. You guys enjoy trick-or-treating." He's angry at them already for being with Max. Max has no idea what the hell's going on. And Mike just kind of blows them all off. Says, "I'm taking Will home. This is more important." Max is, like, "What's going on?" And Dustin and Lucas are just like, "Oh, they don't say anything. They're not going to say anything to Max about what's going on." But you could tell that they're just like, it seems like they know they've screwed up, or at least they should have been there more for Will. We cut back over to that awesome, cool party. This time Jonathan shows up, that kid who was talking about, pure fuel in the punch. He's throwing up outside. Jonathan goes inside, shows up at the party, walks inside. He meets a girl. She's kind of dressed up like a punk, like a early 80s emo punk, goth punk, I guess. I don't know what the hell it was called. Samantha's her name. And we never see her again. I mean, meets a girl. They talk for a few seconds. She introduces herself. We get a name. And we never see her again. When I first saw her, I thought, oh, okay, she's going to be someone that Jonathan's going to become friends with, and Nancy's going to get jealous. That was my thought. But nope, not at all. We don't see her one more time. In fact, maybe the point is, look, this girl is trying to be friends with Jonathan, but all he cares about is seeing Nancy. And he looks over, and he sees, Steve and Nancy partying and dancing and having a good time. Nancy goes back for more punch, and Steve's trying to stop her. He's like, you probably shouldn't be drinking anymore. That's enough. You've had enough. She's like, no. Blah. She spills stuff all over herself. Goes up and tries to wash it off in the bathroom of this girl's house. And Steve's trying to, tell her it's not going to come off. We should just go home. We should just go home. And she just drunkenly rips Steve a new one. Says, everything's bullshit. It's bullshit. Stupid party, stupid teenagers. So she's like, I guess she did an okay job. I always find it funny when people act drunk. How good are they? It's like, ooh, she was very slow, mopey talking. Like droopy dog. And she's like, everything's bullshit, including their love. She's like, don't you love me? It's like, it's bullshit. Steve just leaves. He's just, like, I am out of here. Boom. We cut over to the Wheeler house, because I believe they're back at Mike's house in the basement. And that was the opening audio where Will talks about, like, he feels like he's stuck. He wasn't in the upside down exactly, but he wasn't in our world either. He was somewhere in between. He felt like, he gave the viewfinder analogy. He's like, please don't tell the other guys. They're not going to understand. And Mike's like, 11 would understand. She was really good at that stuff. He talked a little bit about how he tries to reach out to her, tries to talk to her. He thinks he's getting through to her, but he isn't. She's probably gone. And he feels like he's going crazy. And Will's like, I feel like I'm going crazy. He's like, you know what? We'll go crazy together. So it was a cool moment because Mike is with Will a lot this season. He's there by his side. And it just shows, it's a nice little moment because Mike's showing his true friendship. Sure, he's angry with his other guys right now because there's another girl in the group. But Will is not part of that. So Will, he's not angry with Will at all. He knows Will's been going through some, shiznit. And, he just wants to be there for Will. He wants to be a good friend to him. So that's why I said we'll go crazy together. We cut back, I guess, outside of the same house. Jonathan brings Nancy home. Kind of cool. He walks into the home, brings the drunk teenager up to her bedroom, walks her in her bedroom, and leaves her sleeping. Her parents apparently are fast asleep. The fact that people can just do this and it's not a problem. So that's very interesting. And she wakes up just for a second to say Jonathan and falls asleep. And you could see Jonathan just look back at her. You could tell how much he really, really likes her. Hopper races home, finally gets home, and does the secret knock. Apologizes for being late. I'm sorry, kid. Something came up. He's like, "You're gonna let me in?" He just basically, it's like, "Come on, I got all this candy out here." He's fine. I'll just eat all the candy, get fat. Maybe I'll have a heart attack. What do you care? You're gonna be in there trying to do the guilt trip on her. It's not working because she brought the TV in her bedroom, not to watch TV, but to find a nice static channel so she could put on her bandana and go into the void. She doesn't need that sensory deprivation tank. Her powers have improved. All she needs now is a little quiet, something to kind of mask the sound, and a blindfold. And boom, she knows exactly where she wants to go, looking for young Mike.
Stay 353. I had a bad day today. I don't know why. I guess I wish you were here. I mean, we all do. If you're out there, just please give me a sign.
Mike.
11?
You feel really bad for 11 here. She can see that Mike is waiting for her. Mike is looking for her. Mike is holding out hope that she's still out there. But because of the rules, because she's hiding for safety purposes, because of what Hopper says, she is, she can't do too much. She visits him. She says, Mike. He seems to hear it, but then nothing else happens. Mike gets frustrated and shuts off his walkie-talkie, but he's going to do it again the next night. But that's it. 11's like, she's trapped there, and she takes off the blindfold, comes out of the void, and she's got her nose bleeding. She's crying. She's really sad. You realize she's just all alone, and except for Hopper. But for the most part, she's alone by herself all day. So you could tell that, she just wants to get out. She wants to get back to her friends. But the episode doesn't end there. See, I thought it did. I totally forgot about this last moment. Totally Tubular comes back, and Dustin, trick-or-treating's over. He walks home, or rode his bike home, and he's walking up the driveway. And you're just about to go in the house, and he hears something by the garbage. And again, there's that same sound that Will heard in the Upside Down, and that Hopper heard in the woods there by the farm. That same little, I can't make the sound. I'm not even going to try it. But he's like, what is that noise? And boom, then the garbage really shakes. And he holds up the end of his Probaton pack. The Ghostbusters, that's going to do anything. But he bravely rips open the garbage cap, looks inside, and he's like, holy shit. And then it shuts off. That's the end of the episode. And of course, Ray Parker Jr.'s Ghostbusters theme plays. He's brave. All these kids are brave. I would have run. If this happened to me, like, never mind the first season. After these 2 seasons, I'm sure I'd be in therapy. But these kids seem to just live for adventure. And the fact that he, of course, what he does with this thing, he's really into science and scientific discoveries. But he very bravely, I would have not taken that tank. I would have ran in the house so fast. But I'm not Dustin. I'm not Dusty. So that's how the episode ends. You know, Dustin finds something in his garbage. And boom, that's the end of the episode. So what did we learn here? What did we learn? Well, we learned that the farmers, there's no way the farmers are poisoning their pumpkins. Something is causing this rot. We don't know what it is, but it is really spreading. We learned that Nancy, after a while, can't hold her alcohol, but she is just so guilt-ridden that she can't live the life of a normal teenager right now. She can't pretend and just be Steve's girlfriend and just live life, to the point where she pushes Steve away. We learned that Max is becoming friendly with the group, the party, which make Lucas and Dustin very happy, makes Will not really care, and it makes Mike very jealous and angry because he's still pining for 11, obviously, and he does not like anyone else in his group, especially with the fact that they didn't consult him first, like he needs to be on the approval chain. We learned all about 11 getting from the, well, we didn't learn it all of our flashback. We learned a lot of it, from the upside down to hiding in the woods to finding Hopper's food. We learned that she can get into the void now without the need of the sensory deprivation tank, just to go, look for Mike. She doesn't have to hold anything. She doesn't have to think about him because, they're so close. They're so connected. Mike is still looking for her every single night. We know that Billy's a prick. We know that Jonathan really seems to like Nancy, but he's not crazy about Bob, who's crazy about Joyce. We learned about something where they took Will to Chicago. There's some guy in Boston. I hope we hear about that someday in the future. And of course, Will going into the Upside Down. He finally talks about the monster and how it's weirdly like he's stuck in between both places, where he's not fully in the Upside Down, but he's not fully in our world too. Wow. What a lot of excitement. I mean, can you hear the excitement in my voice? I'm not tired at all. It was a cool episode. A lot of fun moments, a lot of cool moments, and all geared up, ready for the next episode, ready for episode 3 next week. But until then, thank you guys for listening. Of course, the website is fansnotexperts.com. I'm on Twitter at Geek Mentality. You can find me, you can find everything on the podcast at the website, but you can also find us on iTunes. We should be on most of your podcast searching tools. Thank you, everybody, for subscribing. I don't have a lot of subscribers, but the ones I have, even the fact that I have any blows my mind. We hit the 100 mark, probably because, the season 2 just started, or we just came out very recently. So we're in that area. To me, that's humongous. Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for subscribing. Geez. Happy Veterans Day, everybody. It's still Veterans Day when I'm talking right now. So thank you. If you're a veteran, or if you have veterans in your family, thank them. Thank you. That line, thank you for your service. You hear it all the time, but what else can you say except thank you? So happy Veterans Day. That's real world stuff, though. Stranger danger, stranger things. That's the fantasy world. That's the fun stuff. The fantasy world, not the scary real world. I have to go back to that right now after I finish talking to you. But really, it's 10:42 at night, so my evening will be putting up a podcast and going to sleep. Probably taking my dog out one more time. Really exciting stuff. Not as exciting as young Will Byers, all his friends in Hawkins, Indiana, where we will be once again next Friday for episode 3. But until then, beware the mind flayer. Or I'll just say trick or treat, freak.
Fans not experts.